some men, you should know, still find me attractive.
How should I know them? I didn't attend the Braille Institute.
Welcome back to the Vortex, the video Vortex. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Tiana and the Professor Smoke. We are from the All-American Spookshow podcast, which you can listen to every Monday at 6 p.m. East, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, right here on the YouTube channel. And while you're here, we encourage you to like, subscribe, click the bell to be notified, all that jazz, and go check out all the other stuff here on the channel. We've got Grindhouse Gutter series, we've got Hammer Horror and Order series, and of course, tons of past episodes of the Spook Show and lots of other cool videos here on the channel. So we encourage you to go just look around, check everything out. But really the main focus of Video Vortex is we do a random wheel spin and we talk about movies that mostly were released back in the old video store days, you know, stuff you would have probably didn't play in a theater. You would have rented at your local mom and pop video store or at Blockbuster. And really all the way up till today, like, you know, kind of today is modern equivalent would be like streaming, Netflix, stuff like that. So we've got a little bit of everything that we'll talk about here, but mostly that's the core focus of Video Vortex. So this month we spun the wheel and we landed on Microwave Massacre, which was made in 1979. Although best I can tell didn't actually come out until like later on in the 80s, right? So I think it was like 83 or something when it finally hit video shelves.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it may have gotten some, spotty limited distribution, but I'm not 100% sure on that part. I definitely know when it hit video stores, though, in 83.
Yeah, because I believe when I saw something about this is like one of those midnight movie type deals, probably at drive-ins or grindhouses or something like that back in 79 or 80. But then years later, it was released on VHS, and then many years later, eventually Arrow Video got a hold of it and released it on like a deluxe Blu-ray set, like I think that was like 2016 or something like that. And I think there's been another version or two that's come out in the years since. But so really it was one of those kind of movies that kind of probably died and went away for a long time, unless you just happen to own a old random VHS copy of it or something, right?
Yeah, I have I don't have it for show here on this particular episode because it's boxed up somewhere. And but it's a Microwave Massacre, the Midnight Video put out on VHS. And also there was, I don't have this one, but sometime a little later on, there was a Rhino Video VHS release that had different box artwork on it. And it had, I believe, some sort of, like you could push the microwave button or something. It was some sort of interactive button.
Some old gimmick. Yeah, because this movie really plays to that gimmick, that microwave gimmick, right? Because a lot of movies back then would find some type of little thing to key in on, like a gimmick type thing like that, and that would be part of the the packaging, like that's what they were trying to sell you, like, so this one clearly they were playing in on what body parts being in a microwave, right?
Yeah. And in the movie itself, the said microwave of the Microwave Massacre is this ridiculously oversized microwave with a bunch of lit up buttons. I mean, it looks cool on film, right? But I mean, it's exaggerated as it would need to be for some of the things that are done in it.
Yeah, that was one question I was going to have, because like I know that microwaves were a lot bigger back when they first became a thing in the 70s. Hell, they might even be older than that for all I can recall, but at least like by the 70s, people started having them in their house. But I don't think they were this big, right? Like, this thing's like the size of a friggin' like conventional oven.
Yeah.
Really everything about this movie is comically large, right? Like it's very campy, corny, over the top, in a lot of ways absurd humor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something out there. The humor works, right? Even though it's a weird sort of some of the humor is like 50s stand-up humor, and that's mainly because that's where the main, the lead actor, which is Jackie Vernon, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
And boy, you really messed me up with Jackie Vernon in this movie, because like I had never seen this movie, and before I even watched it, you had put together this little video snippet that we're actually going to be, if it's not already out on the socials, it will be very soon, as you're watching this. But we're going to use it as kind of a preview for it. But like you point out that Jackie Vernon was the voice of Frosty the Snowman.
yes, yeah, that is probably his main these days is probably his main claim to fame, is from Frosty the Snowman, that we all grew up with as 70s and 80s kids, and even 90s kids. I mean, the 70s kids are showing it to their kids as they get,
Yeah, I mean, they even still show it today, right? Like every Christmas, like CBS or whatever country you're in, they're probably showing Frosty the Snowman every on network television to this day.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one. It was I forget the sequel. There was an animated sequel to Frosty the Snowman that Jackie Vernon did the voice again on, and then there was a third Frosty movie, which was all these I believe are produced by Rankin Bass. But you remember Rankin Bass when they did their claymation stuff? There was a claymation Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those claymation type, stop motion animation features that they would do. And that came out in 1979, the same year that Microwave Massacre came out. So he did Frosty and Microwave Massacre in the same year, basically.
I don't know the story behind that, but there has to be something on his end. Like I don't want to be painted as Frosty or something like that. So he had to do something that was the complete opposite of that. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that we'll have to get it. Like I can see this being on our regular podcast episode somewhere down the road, because you could do a good deep dive on this. And I haven't done that quite. We do Grindhouse Gutter here. We try not to spoil any sort of big elements or whatever, or we don't take a huge deep dive into it. We just kind of talk about the movie a little bit and give you some facts and things about it and whatnot. So yeah, once we get into like this episode on our regular podcast, then we definitely need to go down that avenue and see if there's anything out there about why necessarily he did this movie or what.
But once you pointed that out, and then I watched the movie, I'm not going to say you ruined it, but it was just like I couldn't get that out of my head that like I'm watching Frosty the Snowman kill prostitutes and be a cannibal here. I mean, like that's what this is about, right? Like this guy's in this, I guess, horrible sham of a marriage. I guess he's upset just because she won't cook regular food, right? That's the problem. And
like the very first scene you see open up on him, he's a construction worker on the site. They're eating lunch and everything, and he pulls out this giant hamburger bun thing with lettuce, like a whole head of lettuce pulled apart in this thing, and just a crab, a raw crab, a giant like snow crab, uncooked. I don't know if it's cooked or uncooked. It's just a full crab in between two giant hamburger buns and lettuce. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like a steamed crab, but like still in the shell.
Yeah. But between
enormous buns,
giant buns. And yeah, he's trying to trade it. Hey, I'd love to have a bologna and cheese sandwich. He's trying to trade his food with the guys there on the construction site or whatever. And then he gets home at night and she's cooking some other French cuisine thing that she can't even pronounce right either or whatever. And he's just like, "Can I just have a normal food?" So yeah, it just goes on and on like this for a little while, where he's like annoyed by this type of thing, and we talked about this offline, but her apartment or home, rather, house decor, where it's just completely shambles of like some Roman bust or whatever, and then some tribal artwork on the wall of some sort, and then just a whole bunch of amalgamation of like stuff that she probably found at estate sales or yard sales and things.
That's exactly what it's like yard sale, flea market, estate sale, decor. But she's trying to make the house like fancy. So she's trying to be like cultured, and that's the last thing that he wants. So so essentially one thing leads to another, and he gets desperate for food and basically just kind of becomes a cannibal. So he starts. That's the Microwave Massacre part of it, right?
And why they use this big giant microwave, because I mean, this isn't, like I said, we don't give any spoilers away. I mean, it's Microwave Massacre, so you expect a massacre involving microwave, right? So, but yeah, there's various like body parts. At one point, he's cooking in there, and you can see there's like the light inside the microwave, which this isn't like a actual microwave. Yeah, there's lights inside the microwaves, but when you close the door, you usually don't see perfectly what's in there without, it's cooking, and you got to look at it, right? And this one is like a light comes on inside the microwave, and then all of a sudden the front door becomes crystal clear like a window, so you're seeing these body parts in the microwave or whatever, at various points in the movie. So yeah, the microwave plays its own role in the movie for sure. It wouldn't have worked if it were just a standard size little microwave on your kitchen counter or something. So it had to be that giant oversized thing that becomes
that plays into the corniness and the absurdity of it, because and by saying that so many times, I mean, it can't be overstated. Like, it's, if anyone watching this has ever seen Street Trash, it's very comparable to that comedy wise, and it's not quite as gory as that, although there's plenty of gore, not quite as bad as that one, but it kind of, to me, it plays like that, right? Like, it's just kind of gross, but let's lean into it and just have fun with it, right?
Yeah, think because like I said, Jackie Vernon was a stand-up comedy actor, like of the style of the 50s and early 60s, where it's one-liners delivered in a kind of dry way.
Hey, what do you call that thing?
I didn't have to call it at all. The little critter just followed me here.
Well, just think of that. It's almost like 50s sitcom stand-up comedian comedy mixed with a exploitation, sexploitation almost. I mean, because there's some elements of sexploitation in the movie as well.
Oh yeah.
Gore on the scale of, I would say, Herschel Gordon Lewis, but it's even below Herschel Gordon Lewis's gore. It's fun and it's not that well done. Although he kind of does that on purpose. I mean, not really. He's got a budget to work with, but he makes it humorous in his gore or whatever, right? So this one has even less budget to work with the gore, and you can see these rubber hands. Sometimes the hard plastic Halloween type hands. I mean, that's what they look like sometimes. Other times just rubbery, whatever, rubber, like foam rubber, like just really not as well made foam rubber latex appendages or whatever. They're not flexible at all like you would. They're just like stiff and very obviously fake, And also there's a point involving a fake head in the movie that is really terrible.
Oh,
really terrible, but like hilarious,
Yeah, hilariously bad.
Yeah. Maybe it might be the worst severed head prop you've ever seen, but also
it's up the
most severed head prop you've ever seen.
Yeah. But all these things are in a good way. Like, if you're ever going to sit down and watch this movie, it's corny, over the top, absurd, but it's funny. It's fun. So just know, like, don't judge this against like highbrow cinema, because that ain't what this is. Not that anybody popping in a tape or a DVD of Microwave Massacre is expecting the next Gone with the Wind, but it's not serious at all. So like, just get ready to laugh, because it's one of those type of movies. So we all came together beforehand, and we give out our Vortex rating, which is a 0 through 10 scale that kind of factors in everything, kind of what we felt about it, how much would you want to re-rent this back in the day kind of flick. So 0 through 10, we came up with a number of 7, which matches it for the highest rating we've given here on Video Vortex, with ironically the very first episode we ever did, Samurai Cop. We gave that a 7. So it gets the high marks. Although, to be fair, if you go back and watch all of the other Video Vortex videos series here on the channel, we haven't watched a lot of good ones. So it's a pretty low bar right now. There's only a few kind of stick out. So it's definitely worth checking out, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is one that for me back in the day was a re-rental of quite a few times.
I like I said before, I'd never seen it before, but I wish I had a long time ago. That's one of my life's greatest regrets now. It's not seeing Microwave Massacre any sooner than this. So I guess that's where we'll leave it for now. And like Smoke said, at some point we'll get this on the podcast proper so we can take a deeper dive and get into some of the more background information. But if you wanted to see the voice of Frosty the Snowman kill some prostitutes and
deliver some one-liners, also not just like I said, he had the 50s style jokes and stuff going, but there were also some like racier things. So if you want to hear Frosty saying racier things,
very, very much in the vein of like Jackie Mason or Rodney Dangerfield type jokes, that one-liner type stuff. That's what you're getting here. So you're gonna have fun with it for sure. I guarantee. If you've got that correct sense of humor for this type of thing, this is the kind of thing you're gonna love. So Hopefully next month we can say the same thing. We completely leave this up to the spin of the wheel. We never know what it's going to land. It's going to land on what it has in store for us. So we spun it beforehand, and we landed on a movie that I had heard of in cursory, but I haven't seen it. And boy, this thing looks ridiculous, but for the current era of movies, because this came out in 2022. It's a German movie called Holy Shit! Exclamation point. So this should be interesting. I hope it's fun, as much fun as we just had with Microwave Massacre. I guess we'll find out. I mean, like, I don't know, because I believe it's supposed to be like an action movie that's got some comedy, right? So we'll
It
find
looks
out.
interesting, judging by the trailer.
Yeah, it looks interesting if nothing else. So come back next month for that. And like I said at the top, check out all the other stuff we got here on the YouTube channel. We've got Grindhouse Gutter, Hammer Horn Order, lots of other cool stuff. So and also the podcast every week. You'll hear other people voices there. Will, Donnie, the whole Spook Show crew come in and out on that one. So for those guys who couldn't be with us, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh Weir from the All American Spook Show. And come back next month for Holy Shit.
There's nothing in there. Come on, shoot. Napoleon, she had to call him. I'm gonna kick him in his Bonaparte.